Hey guys, it's Shadow Flyer. It's been a little while since I've been able to record a video, but it's fall break now and I'm driving to Tennessee, so I figured might as well record something. So today I want to talk about, from my experience, the difference between being a POC and a GMC. So this is my AS300 year, meaning I just went to field training this past summer and I'm a junior effectively in school. And so I still have the rest of this year and then one more year as a POC, but I've already done 2 years as a GMC, so I know what it's like to be a GMC. Now I'm kind of familiarizing myself with being a POC. But just in the couple months I've been a POC, I do have enough experience that I think I can talk about it. And I mean, honestly, the big thing that ROTC centers itself on is field training. And I've already talked about field training in another video, actually I think a couple videos. But while you're a GMC, almost all your time is spent looking forward to field training. And like all your training, while it has practicality outside of that, so you are training to be an Air Force officer, your nearest goal, so like if you were looking down your sight line, your target at that point is completing field training. So everything you do, all the training you do, is to try to get you to be able to go to field training and do well there. Like I said, there's other practical purposes for it, but that's your nearest goal. That's what you're really working for. So as a GMC, you spend a lot of time practicing your marching, making sure you know your knowledge, maybe getting some more practical like field experience, whether it's using a compass or learning how to low crawl, high crawl. There's a bunch of different things you can learn out in the field, but that's what most of your time as a GMC is spent doing. As a POC, the roles are very much different. It's almost all a teaching aspect or administration aspect. So I was selected to be a 100 flight commander, meaning I'm the flight commander of some freshmen, and I spend my time training them. I am in charge of them, so I also have to make sure I have accountability for them, and like I can't go somewhere and not know where someone is. But my main job is to help train them. When we go to Lee Lab, the main difference is that rather than me going to the different sessions to try to learn the information, the idea is that I'm already supposed to know it. And so our detachment's big enough that I don't have to teach all the different lessons. I can just bring my flight within the squadron to the next station, and then there's already POC there to teach everything. But I am there to like answer any questions, help them when they need to start practicing what they learned. I evaluate them, I help them out. So in that case, like if I didn't already know how to do it, it would be hard to be a good POC, because it's hard to teach something you don't know. And it's even harder to evaluate someone when you really don't know what you're doing. So the other aspect to it is more the administration side. So there's, depending on what job you get, you may or may not get a lot more paperwork. But there will be paperwork either way, because like even as a flight commander, anytime my flight takes a PT test, I have paperwork for every single one of them. I have to go through, I have to make sure nobody failed any events, I have to see what the average score was, and I do pretty much just all the numbers for my squadron commander, and like so I can get that information up there so that the wing commander knows like what was the average PT score, how many people failed, just general information. But since I'm in charge of my flight, anytime we do anything or anytime we inspect them, I have to do all the numbers to figure out how my flight's doing. And not only do I do those numbers so that the administration above me like kind of gets an idea of what's happening, but the idea is that I'm using those numbers to evaluate how I'm doing. Because if it's my job to teach them and get them ready for field training, and they're failing their inspections and they're still doing terrible at marching, even their PT scores are very, very low. Even if they're passing, they're very low. then I'm not doing a good enough job as a POC, as their flight commander. I'm not doing a good enough job preparing them for field training. So those are the main differences in the roles, is that as a GMC, you're training for it. It's a little more stressful because you know you're the one in the hot seat. When you eventually get to field training, you're the one that's going to be evaluated. As a POC, it's a little less stressful most of the time because you're not necessarily being evaluated at all times. But at the same time, you don't want to be that guy that's just slacking off. You want to do good at being a role model, at being a teacher. You want to be someone they can look up to. So it's important to still know your stuff, like especially for like the knowledge packet and the warrior knowledge and all the stuff that you're supposed to know for field training. If they have to know it, I don't see why you shouldn't still know it. I mean, very few things change, so unless you're going to just start forgetting things, there's really not that much more stuff that you have to memorize. But even the small things like chain of command, when that changes or when they put in different quotes, like, just learn it. Like, as a GMC, you're given usually, at least at our school, what we do is we have inspections every week, and they have to know, well, we have like a knowledge packet, and they have to know a certain amount of stuff for every week, and it's cumulative. So once they've learned it in a week past, then we expect them to know it from then on. And I don't see why that shouldn't apply to the POC as well. If you already learned it once or learned most of it, now that's just less stuff you have to memorize. You can spend more time learning that one new quote as opposed to learning the entire manual. So it's not that difficult, but it's definitely something you have to learn and kind of grow at. I love teaching. I'm taking a lot of classes this semester for being a teacher, being an instructor, being a flight instructor, but I just love it. I've been given the opportunity to lead some pretty big events and be the head guy on it all, and so I do appreciate the stuff I get to learn in those positions. But I really like being a flight commander in the sense that I get to actually see hands-on what the progress is, the impact I'm making. I can watch as my cadets grow from knowing very, very little to knowing how to march, how to do things right. It's nice because at the beginning they come in with such little knowledge. Like you can't just call a command and say, okay, now do it, because they're gonna be like, what does that mean? Or how do you do it? Like, what foot do I do? Do I step off with? Just basic things. But as you spend more time with them and teach them more, they get to the point where they get more familiar with it, they understand it, and they can do it. And so then the next time when you're there and you call a command, they can do it. Or maybe they may not do it perfectly, but they at least know a general understanding to start doing it, and then you can correct them and help them get better. But it's just really cool getting to watch them improve. It's definitely something that if you get the chance to be a flight commander, even just for a semester, I would recommend. I enjoy it very much. But those are the main differences I see for my 2 months really of being a POC. But it's fun. It's definitely something to look forward to. It's nice not having everything on your shoulders in the sense of being afraid that you're not going to learn it all in time for field training. But that's all I have for today. Be sure to like, subscribe, and if you have any comments or questions, feel free to leave them below and I'll answer them as soon as I can. Have a great day, guys.